Hey, what's going on, my fellow Sagittariuses? Butch here. I am going to do your February read. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your Sun, Moon, Rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. Today I'm going to be using the Runic Tarot. I know I use this a lot, but I really enjoy this deck. For anybody that collects decks or does readings themselves, I highly recommend it. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, throw down a comment. If you like the content of this channel, join our community. There's always room for more. And with all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what is going on for Sagittarius? What message do we have for Sagittarius for February 2024? Let me see coming in. All right, Sagittarius. So the first thing that I see, Sagittarius, I feel like this is not a new energy. This is not a new person. Now, I do feel like you had a connection with this person before. Now, whether it didn't go any further or it didn't really get started, I just feel like it didn't work out. You know, I feel like this person, they weren't being open with you. You know, we had that self-imposed prison start this off. You know, it's all about hiding. You know, hiding things, and it's not so much secrets, that kind of hiding. It's you know you want something, but you hide the feelings. You know, and I feel like with this person, there's a really strong sense of this was about pride. You know, I feel like they wanted to be with you almost to the point where they felt like they needed you. And instead of embracing that, they shut that shit down. You know, they hid from it. You know, I feel like this connection you have with this person, like I said, whether it got started or it didn't really go any further than just the beginning, I feel like there was a friendship there. And I feel like that's where it started. But there was more. There was more between the two of you. And like I said, I mean, this person retreated. You know, they had a hard time swallowing their pride and just admitting what was right there in front of them. You know, I feel like you never got to see what was right in front of you because, like I said, I feel like they resorted back to that self-imposed prison. Instead of fighting for this, they fought against it. And what I mean by that is more of an internal struggle. Now, with this person, I do get the sense that things have been very chaotic for this person. Things aren't going right. And I feel like they're starting to realize the root of all this with that hangman. All this chaos, everything not going right, the root of it all, and their perspective has changed because the root of it all is they let go of something that was never meant to let go of. They let their pride take over. Instead of admitting that they needed you, instead of admitting that they wanted you, they chose a different route. A different route. I said rue. I don't know why. But now, like I said, things aren't going good for them. This person is feeling defeated. Feeling like things aren't really working out the way they thought. Now, this feeling of defeat and the feeling of, like I said, with this Two of Swords, it's like it's right in front of you, but they didn't see it. Or they did see it, they didn't acknowledge it in this case. I feel like this person knew there was something special between the two of you. I feel like you brought out some feelings in this person they weren't expecting, and how they reacted wasn't quite the way they wanted to, but it is, in fact, the way they did. This brought out some feelings that they weren't prepared for. And instead of swallowing their pride, I just put a comment or a thing on my community page, and it kind of represents this in a nutshell. All about pride. It's about leaving that shit at the door. There's no room for pride in love. There isn't. You got to let that shit go, because that shit will just cause things not to work. One of the things I remember, my grandmother used to tell me this all the time, and it really is part of this read. And I know some people don't like when I put my 2 cents during the read, and I don't always like to do it. But right now I feel like it's very relevant. If your pride is bigger than your heart and your ego is bigger than your head, grow up. Or be prepared to live life alone. Remember, she used to say that to me, and it was just, that's the thing. Sometimes we feel this connection towards someone, like this person feels this connection towards you. But instead of embracing it, instead of nurturing it, they thought they could walk away from it. Now they're realizing that shit is going wrong for them because they had it all right in the beginning. They just should have took that leap of faith, and they didn't take that. They knew exactly what they wanted. But instead of, like I said, throwing that pride to the door, they let that take over. They had a hard time admitting what it was that they wanted from you. And it's not the fact they had a hard time admitting that they wanted you. They had a hard time admitting that they needed you. And like I said, things haven't been going right for them since. This person only thinks about you. They've been thinking about you a lot lately, and they continue to think about you. And I do get the sense that this person is coming back. And I feel like they did put their pride in check. We have the World card, everything coming full circle. They want to be with you. They see you as someone they can have that future with. And instead of letting you go, I feel like they're going to protect this. They're going to protect the connection they have with you instead of just letting it slip through their fingers again. And one of the things that's going to be different this time around is I feel like this person is going to be honest with you. This person is going to communicate with you because they know what happens if they don't. Sometimes we need to lose the most important thing that's ever happened to us in order to appreciate it. And I know that sounds messed up, but that's just a way of thinking that some people have. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes the best thing for us is the hardest thing to accept. And you were the best thing for them, but they couldn't accept it. They didn't want to need anybody. Like I said, you brought up feelings in this person they weren't expecting to have, and I feel like it got a little overwhelming for them, but that's not to give them an excuse. That's just to put the facts out on the table here. And like I said, we have the King of Cups, so I feel like this person has grown. This is an experience that has caused this person to grow up. Just like my grandmother said, you got to grow up or be alone. This connection that you have with this person, I feel like it is a lifelong connection. And I feel like now that they're finally willing to it, and open themselves up to it, I feel like we're really going to see some really big changes in this person. And first and foremost, I see this person chasing you. This person is coming back, and this person is going to want to get your attention. And they're not just going to put it up for chance. This person is nurturing this connection. And it's something they didn't do before, but they are going to do now. Because they do want to build that foundation with you. They do want to be happy, and they want you to be happy. And they know being with you makes them happy. They couldn't accept it before, but they're accepting it now. You've inspired this person to change. Without even knowing it, you inspired them. When they're around you, even when shit was hitting the fan, it didn't seem like the end of the world. But now it's like everything's falling apart, and they're trying to go back to the place where things were happy, and that's with you. Now, this is going to come very impulsive. I feel like there's going to be this moment where they're just going to be like, you know what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I know I made a stupid mistake. And it's all coming to them very impulsively. All very spontaneous. And I feel like it moves on from there. But like I said, this connection was much deeper than they gave it credit for. But now that they're accepting it, we can finally see the depth of this. We can see how far this is going to go. How deep does a rabbit hole go? Well, now we're going to get that answer. And like I said, this person's going to chase you. Be prepared for a big romantic gesture, because they know they gotta make things right. And they know it's not going to take just I'm sorry to make this right. It's going to take, a big gesture, and that's what they have planned. So look for this person to come back, and this person is coming back in a big way, because like I said, they know what they wanted. They had a hard time accepting it, and I am going to chalk it up to emotionally immature, some emotional immaturity, but I feel like they've grown. Like I said, we have the King of Cups, emotional maturity at its peak. And this person, like I said, they're finally ready to step in, and take care of it. Finally ready to take that leap of faith and leave pride at the damn door. Like I said, it's one of those things in life that sometimes we have to learn the hard lesson. Sometimes we lose on those kind of risks. They took a big risk in walking away. They took a big risk in not moving forward with this. And they weren't prepared to lose. And that's the problem. Don't take a big risk when you're not ready to lose it. You know what I mean? If you're not looking to lose, don't take big risks. They couldn't handle a loss. Like I said, with that Tower card, shit's going sideways for them. And they're trying to get back to a place where shit makes sense. And that's why they're coming back to you, because it made sense with you. They weren't willing to accept it before, but they're accepting it now. And like I said, they're coming back, with that Star card to nurture this connection. This was more than they gave it credit for. Like I said, I feel like it was more of a friendship in the beginning, but things started really heating up. And when the kitchen got hot, this person, it was too hot for them. They got out. What's that old saying? If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, they got out of the kitchen. But it wasn't because they couldn't stand the heat. It's just because they thought they couldn't. They didn't want to be vulnerable. But without you, they are vulnerable. Like I said before, sometimes you got to make it's a big risk. And if you're not willing to accept the consequences, then don't take it. They weren't ready. They weren't ready to accept it. They didn't want to accept it. But like I said, sometimes pride gets in the way. But in love, pride has no place. With this person, we have Sagittarius, we have Aries. We have Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. We got some Pisces, some Scorpio, and some Cancer. Yeah, I always, my nan had such, have you ever had advice given to you by a family member and you didn't understand it or you didn't take it? And then later on in life, when you got a little more mature and a little bit more worldly, it made so much sense to you. Like that quote always, like, it wasn't really a quote, it's just something she said, but it never really made sense to me before. And I feel like sometimes until we're in the situation where it's supposed to make sense, it's hard to make sense of it. I mean, like I said, if your pride is bigger than your heart and your ego is bigger than your head, you need to grow up or you'll be alone. And it hit hard. It actually hit me when I met Rose. It's been 15 years we've been together now, and it hit me hard. And I'd like to say it hit me hard in the beginning of a relationship, but honestly, it hasn't been too recently it really hit me hard. And I think people that have been following me kind of seen that a few months ago. It was a pride thing. I let pride, and it wasn't, it's about, what I mean by pride is, like, sometimes you gotta let that shit go. Like, you gotta be vulnerable for that person. If you can't be vulnerable with your person, then who the hell can you be vulnerable with? Being your person, being with your person, it should be your safe place. But now, a lot of soul searching and really awakening for me has led me to understand that sometimes we have our safe place, and our safe place can be somewhere where we feel safe or we feel comfortable. I think it'd be a better word. Now, if you're not comfortable being open with other people, then your home is that type of energy. You don't let anybody in. And you think that's safe and you think that's happy, but it's not. The moment you realize that home is what you're used to, but doesn't mean it's the home you should be in. Sometimes you gotta move. And for me, growing up, I never had love. I never felt love. Except for my grandmother, my nanny. I got her, Edna. There she is. But she was 4'11", and she was the biggest person I ever met when it came to heart. And she always was the one that showed me love. Now, she was a Taurus, and she showed me love through cooking, obviously with a Taurus. But when I went to her house, she always demanded a hug. When you left her house, she demanded a hug. I never had anybody in my life like that. My mom's not that type of person. My dad's not that type of person. But that's the thing. I wasn't used to it. And even when she was trying to show me it, I had a hard time accepting it because it wasn't a comfortable place for me. And it took a long time for me to learn. And the example I like to use is, if you live in a household where, say, your parents are French, learning English is a lot harder. So if you live in a house that's not a lot of love, learning love is harder. It's easy to learn in your environment what is being taught to you. But if it's not being taught to you, you can't learn it. You know, and it's harder for you to learn that. And it's, you know, it's taken me a long time, but I'm still getting better. You know, I'm still dealing with them, still learning how to show love and how to, you know, with my kids, I've always been very loving. You know, I always tell them I love them every day. I always give them a kiss before they go to bed. I always give them a hug when they go to school. It's stuff I never had. But I've learned that I don't want that for my kids. So like I said with this person, the relevance of the story to this person is the fact that they had to learn. And sometimes it's a hard lesson. But they're learning. Like I said, I mean, when you're brought up and not without love, you know, it's a little bit harder to learn. Just like if you're brought up in a house full of love, you know, it's hard to accept a not loving connection when you grow up. You know, and that's, I mean, you know, if you lived in a place where you always had to be tough, you always had to put your tough exterior up and never let anybody in. One day when you want to let someone in, doesn't mean you don't want to let them in. You probably do with all your heart. You want to let them in, but you find it damn near impossible because you're not used to it. We're all growing. And I feel like having that right person beside you helps you grow that much faster. You know, I don't feel like anybody can change you without your permission. But sometimes people are knocking pretty loud. And you have the choice whether to open the door or let them keep knocking. That's what I have for you. Be good. Take care. Stay safe.